You
Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. As a reminder, we're being recorded. And there's nobody online at this point in time, but I'd like to call the meeting to order. And Ginger, if you could take roll, I would appreciate it.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've got Carrie,
Here,
myself, Ginger, Bill Haas is absent, Liz here, Laura Jordan,
here,
Jill Wilkie,
Here,
Jerry is not here, Corin, Purcell,
half here at least.
Emily and Yvonne.
here.
Okay.
Thank you. Did everybody have a chance to look at the May minutes? Were there any issues with the May
I
minutes?
didn't see any.
didn't see any, but I wasn't here. But they looked great.
I think I think in one of the spots, it says Bill Chris instead of Bob Chris.
Darn it, during
Yeah,
that
right
meeting,
there.
I think I was
Yeah,
like, I can't
yeah.
remember which one it's
But there were two spots and one was the right name. So that's the only thing I saw.
My name's spelled wrong.
Oh,
no. Sorry.
It's not a big deal.
She also fixed Joe's like multiple times. It's like a thing.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so, and for the last meeting, Ginger is now, for the time being,
The
our official
Right.
minute taker, so thank you very much for volunteering.
was it Bill Chris or Bob Chris?
It's Bob,
remember correctly.
Robert, Bob.
Got it, got it, got it, got it.
I went to the, I never, I
And then I
remember
see
that.
that extra R. Okay.
So anybody want to make a motion to approve as noted the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve as noted.
I will second that much.
Thank you. And we do have a visitor here tonight, and I wrote her name down, and I'm Todd Hughes. And I asked if you had anything to say, but you're just observing tonight.
Yes, here.
Great, thank you for checking us out. So there are no visitors' comments. Old business. May 18th. Was our last Eco Ed lecture series with Bob Chris. And it was at Larson Park Pavilion, and I don't want to get emotional about this, but I had texted with Linda that day and she was checking to make sure we had everything we needed. She was in the hospital texting, and I texted her back and said, stop texting me and get better. But it was great. She had someone from the garden club there to introduce Bob, and that went really well. And there were probably 12 people there. It wasn't as big a crowd as normal, but Bob was great. I learned so much. That was a very interesting presentation and illuminating. And I didn't really, I mean, I thought I understood the impact that the Army Corps of Engineers had had on the rivers over time, but that explained a lot. And just some of the imagery he had too. I don't know if anybody's seen him do that type of presentation before. Basically, he was comparing like the Missouri today with the Missouri pre-Army Corps of Engineering. He had a lot of drawings. He referenced Lewis and Clark drawings a lot, early drawings and early flood data. So it's very, very interesting. His point was basically that the problems with flooding that we have now, there are some climate change kind of things happening, but the problems we're really having with floodings are all due to man, due to us. Yeah. Engineering. So it was eye-opening. And he also made me realize how special the Merrimack watershed is. So I really appreciate, the things that you guys are doing in those efforts. So I'm gonna start looking at that differently too. I actually went down to the Merrimack this morning for a minute before school, so it was nice.
Is there a succinct summary of what's so important about it? I mean, I've always thought it
Well,
was
it's a pretty
cool,
unique
but-
watershed to the United States, and
Is it?
apparently the government, the Army Corps, I think in the 70s, Yvonne, wanted to dam up the river in several places and a bunch of its tributaries to create another sort of series of recreational lakes like they did for Table Rock Lake and in the Ozarks. And the state of Missouri, the citizens of Missouri came together and voted and said, we don't want this. We wanted to be left. And because of that, there's a lot of wildlife, flora, fauna that is still present in that watershed that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world.
I have no idea.
So it's very, very unique watershed. I mean, he said one of the most unique in the United States.
Is there a recording of that?
And now we were in Larson.
Oh,
so
right.
didn't
Someone
really-
asked online, I thought maybe that'd be cool to try to do in the future, like make it available.
Well, we are gonna do that for our next Eco Ed Talk, which jumps right ahead to the next item of business, June 22nd. Eco Ed Talk is at the University Webster,
Oh,
excuse
yeah.
me, Webster University on June 22nd at 6:30 is the meet and greet. And at 7 is the actual presentation by Rhonda Burnett from the Missouri Department of Conservation. And she's their planner. And she's going to be talking about the planning tool that she created for the municipalities of Missouri and talking about some case studies. So I think that'll be really interesting for the citizens of Webster to hear, but as you guys know, we also invited council and staff. And we've also invited just surrounding municipalities, staff and folks to try and have a really broad audience, and it will be recorded via Zoom. I think they have a pretty good system
Yeah.
set up there, so we're able to do that there, and we haven't had the technology to do that before. So I'm pretty excited about that event. The morning, we're also doing, if you guys remember the morning, like walkabout with a small group of people. Rhonda said, hey, let's walk through some of the green spaces in Webster, because she's gonna be here all day anyway, because she's coming from Springfield or Jeff City, I can't remember, but she's coming a long way to be with us that day. So she wanted to make the most of the time, and we're gonna just walk some green spaces. And I was gonna have a small group of folks walk with us, Yvonne. Some other folks from MDC, possibly some folks who know like the communities kind of spaces, like folks from GRG or Nature Conservancy, Audubon, Wild Ones. And then of course I invited city council and staff to come to that. And I haven't gotten much of a response there, but Jamie Hassmeyer and I, you guys remember, I went to city council and asked them to come. So I was gonna poke them again, maybe this week or next week, to say if they want to come. And Corin, I was gonna ask you if you would have time to come to the 9 or 9:30 on the Thursday.
There's a possibility I will be out of town.
Okay, well, let me know about that.
I know I'm out of town the preceding Sunday. I don't know when I'm getting back.
Okay.
I'll write that down and get back.
Okay, I thought it would be good since you're part of that subcommittee that meets with the
Yeah,
Sustainability Commission, and I asked that Carla Ambruster, who's also on that subcommittee, come as well.
I'd like to come,
Okay.
but I may not be able to.
Okay, yeah, just let me know.
Okay,
So I don't know, are you guys, so you might be out of town, you guys gonna be able to make it that evening?
I'll be there that evening for
Good.
sure.
Yeah, great.
I should be.
I should be here.
Okay, I think you'll find we saw her present this presentation over in Illinois. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I thought it was very worthwhile. And she shows some examples. So I think it's something, good food for thought for some of the things we might be able to do on the creeks
Yeah,
and
just,
funding.
yeah. Education is really the point.
Do you mean for the grant or?
No, just for MDC talking about community conservation planning.
Yeah, when you mentioned the creeks, I just didn't know if you were mentioning like that they might have ideas for the spending of the grant.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a good chance to ask questions just about, because she shows examples, case studies of other communities who have done
Yeah.
things throughout the state. So I'm sure she has specifics on those.
Yeah.
And I asked council if they had questions that they would like to ask in advance
Mhm.
of that, but I haven't. I might remind them of that opportunity again too. You know, specific to Webster. She said she could research that. And she's. Should be a good evening, morning. Yeah, so that evening I was thinking that we would probably just have a table there, like at the door to like take people's names. We're not requiring registration, but it would be nice to know who was there. And I was gonna do some sort of beverage, maybe lemonade or something, and Jamie said she could provide
Oh, I know there's
compostable
no
cups
eating.
in the thing, right? But
Okay.
since we're gonna have a half an hour beforehand, I thought we could mingle in the lobby there
Okay,
and have lemonade or water or something. Just give people a chance to talk with Rhonda or each other and we did invite people. I have a list of some of the, just a few of the folks we invited from surrounding communities to come. And if you guys have, Corinne, I think we talked about some other folks.
I could reach out to Brentwood and Maplewood
Yeah.
Sustainability Commission.
That was it. And maybe Jamie's already doing that, but
Okay, if she is not, I do have emails from at least one of them.
Okay.
One of the two groups.
yeah, I think that would be good.
Yeah.
So anyway, it would be nice to have someone there at that table, to sort of take names, and just give people stickers to put a name on. That's really all. I mean, I can do that. That would be great. And maybe we can have some information about some of the other things we're doing or have out there, but. Question.
I was gonna say, send me the flyer or again, I don't know where it's at, and I'll give it to Doug, maybe he can put it on blast to the 24/1 to, 'cause we're trying to get
Oh, that
more
would be really cool.
people involved with MDC funding in North County.
Yeah,
So it'd be a great way to add, you know, a more
I'll
diverse,
send it to everybody again
so.
and then you can
put it on.
make another
street team.
push.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. Did anyone call for volunteering from that other post? Remember I called you and asked about,
Oh, no.
no?
Okay. Anybody have any questions about that event?
No, it sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Yvonne, do you have any suggestions about that event? Is everything coordinated for the? As far as I know, tech. As far as I know, getting in the door.
I didn't make sure. Yeah.
I mean, if you wanna rope me into like that
The thread, okay.
thread, then I could be a point of contact or something.
Okay.
I'll go there early and.
Okay.
And do we have a table and a tablecloth?
We do,
that I could
Yeah,
set
I
up
know.
over there?
yeah. They'll probably have tables, but we'll check, make sure and then bring the tablecloth and any kind of informational. Do you have any informational brochures about
Stream
Stream
Team?
Team?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, we have all kinds of stuff. I could get
maybe bring,
pencils and stickers.
I'm gonna get some colored sustainability bag.
okay, yeah, it'd be good to have.
Whistles.
Tables,
Swag.
just some good ways.
You can order all kinds of stuff.
I got some D stuff.
So I'll check with Michael to make sure that
Okay,
I could do all that.
okay. So the next item, if nobody has any questions, we'll move on. The next item is the Green Our City Tree Planting Initiative.
How many applications do we have?
I don't know. As of about 2 weeks ago, I think we had 24.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Good.
and Todd was out of town Friday when I thought, I'm gonna email him and find out how many we have, and I saw that he was out, so I didn't add another email to his inbox, but
But we have like 50, right? possible trees?
40, we decided 40 was the sort of
Cutoff.
max.
Okay,
Um,
well, let me know if it's not, if we haven't met that, because I can repost the little, or we're done with applications.
we're done with that.
Yeah, I forgot there's a deadline. Okay.
Yeah, but I did have a couple people on the old list who didn't get to take advantage. So I might
Last
reach
time,
out to them if there is an opportunity to do that.
Cool.
So. We've got the next month, or the city. Public Works has the next month to take that list of names and review those locations and. Determine which ones are suitable for tree planting and which ones aren't. So we still have our calendar set up, which is. Specific, July 15th is the workshop,
Is the 15th, it's a Saturday,
yes,
11th, 15th.
I think it's the 15th. And then tree planting on. October
It's
7th,
15th.
Yeah,
It's a workshop.
workshops July 15th in Larson Park.
What
And
is the tree planting?
tree planting is October 7th.
Do we need people for the 15th workshop?
No, I don't think we need people for that. We've got the same sort of team, Mark Gruber from MDC and Billy
Hague.
Haig.
I should be able to be available though if you need some.
That would be great. I mean, it's always good to have a little extra support there, but I'm
Yeah.
counting on Joe to be there.
Of course.
Yvonne, and the tree planting day, of course, we will need tree planters.
I will
And-
be there.
We'll probably send out a call for volunteers, but like if the core group could come like we did last time, then we'll be able to plant all the trees, whether we have volunteers, other volunteers. Oh, but we won't have a picture taker.
Oh, no.
Okay, and you, Joe, are coordinating with Danny about tree.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll get him a,
The sooner the better. So whenever the city says, yes, we can plant trees, we know how many trees that we can plant. Get it to Danny as soon as possible.
okay,
Um,
would you like to look at those sites with me?
yes, yeah. So,
Okay, so maybe when I email Todd, I'll get the list and then see what their plan is for having
species selection,
Bueller.
yeah,
What's his name? Andre. Andre looking at, what if. Hopefully get a schedule for when he's gonna have them all looked at, yeah, and you and I could look at like possible species and like, no,
Okay.
the site's not gonna work.
yeah, get his buy-in, obviously, but. The sooner the better, so we get a better selection of trees
Yeah.
and we don't have to be scrambling at the last minute.
Right, well, I had a deadline in there, you
Right.
gave me a date that he
Yeah.
like said this was it, so that's what I'm working for, but if we can get it soon.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think there's anything outstanding for that, I think we're doing pretty good on that.
We're on target, so.
24 is better than last year
Yeah.
already.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
and I'm sure there are more
Yeah.
than that now, I just need to find out, I'll update you guys with an email.
That's good news there.
Yeah. Any questions about university? And the next item is,
What's
4th
the-
of July participation.
I'm still in.
I've been in our application person for it.
I mean, if you guys.
We need to have fun with this, Cohen. I sent in our application through the city's website and maybe when we're done with this meeting, if you have 5 minutes.
I do.
I'll show you my ideas.
I'm in.
Okay.
I've never walked in the parade. I've actually.
Oh, you haven't?
Yeah.
Well, you don't have an electric car.
I've never.
Yeah, you won't have to walk.
Yeah.
It's way more fun if you don't have to walk.
I'd happily be a passenger in one of those.
Yeah, well,
Great.
there's probably room if you really want to.
I mean.
It just takes 2 people and make one.
Yeah, and we have access to 2 vehicles.
Okay, well, count me in.
Nice.
I think.
Do you want?
Well, if we only have one, then I'm only gonna make one set of banners.
Yeah, let me check with Scott. We have 2 electric cards, so.
But I guess if we are gonna have any other takers, then I would need to make. I would
Okay.
want to make 2 banners.
And
Well, I don't think we can do candy if nobody's walking, so.
Well, if there's 2 of us in one vehicle, then we could take turns driving and
Oh.
walking if we want to, or we could just both.
Yeah,
No,
that's what's
yay,
throwing me
trees the
more,
whole
right?
time.
No, can't throw, you actually have to
Oh.
hand it to the kid.
let me
Sound good.
make sure with Scott that it's okay. for
So,
Green
yeah, so
State
they don't get
to drive
injured
the
and-
cards.
So you're a Westwood?
Escort.
Oh, yeah. no problem.
Okay, I did,
So-
I did
That was
put a lot of description
No.
for
but
him
it's-
in that application.
Gotcha.
Okay,
And said we were either gonna have 1 or 2 cards, whatever
okay.
we are allowed to
It
use.
seems like in the
And we will
past,
have
we
2
had
to
a
4
green
people.
space person driving, so,
I drive one,
okay.
that worked, so.
I'll-
That doesn't
I
mean,
was super brave,
Yeah.
right, especially with Scott.
You know,
I'll try to
maybe
take that.
beyond the last time I drove. In the,
And-
They're,
One?
when I was super pregnant with Gianna,
Oh,
in the parade, that was like the
Okay.
best parade ever because I was like, oh.
Yeah.
they are
Tie-dye shirt.
not manual transmission, right, they're automatic.
Yeah, you just go,
And they're the easiest.
it's
to
like a
get.
golf cart.
Yeah,
I can drive the manual.
I can too, oh,
me
good.
too, me too.
Jessica taught me finally.
Okay, so it's nothing exciting, but I did tell Sustainability Commission that we are gonna do that, and it sounds like they're still not gonna.
You guys should hand out only green candy, green pops.
And then probably what we'll do logistics wise, and we can firm it up later, is we'll drop the carts in line. If you can meet there, and then if you can have one of your vehicles back at the service center, and then you can bring them to the service center. When you're done, and then you'll have your car, and then I'll bring them, and lock them up.
Okay,
So
Sure.
I think that's what we'll do.
Yeah.
Possible.
okay. So just maybe, do you think you could let me know, Ginger, like by. Forget when I have to
Let me,
have the
like,
thing done.
Probably need to talk
The 7-year-old and make sure she.
she's okay with me doing that instead of hanging out with her.
Yeah, it's no problem either way,
Okay.
but it'll impact the design /
Okay,
budget items.
okay.
Yes, I will let you know.
ASAP.
Okay, any other questions about that? And we'll talk. Quick after. Jerry is not here to talk about item E, pollinator patrol workday, but. I think I. Have something. That I can add to add to that subject. And so Jerry and Linda had really, I think, worked together to try and start or develop a network of folks that could help with some of the pollinator gardens we have put in, and we're talking about putting in the future. And I think that right now, the city is, Parks Department is, you guys know, doesn't have enough staff right now. They aren't fully staffed, and their staffing budget was cut, so their staff is down. So any kind of space that we want to add, any kind of pollinator space, and I know we've talked about this before, but I'm just emphasizing it. Anything else we put in, we have to take care of, or we have to have the cadre of people to take care of it. And I haven't seen enough, I guess, interest in the patrol idea, the group of master gardeners and master naturalists kind of coming out and picking up some of these balls. So I'm kind of like, I think we need to stop building pollinator gardens and focus on the gardens that we have. Plus, we put in a couple pollinator gardens that Jerry's really one here and one at
Ivory Crockett,
Ivy Crockett.
City Hall, and
Ivy Crockett and right up.
and the concrete garden.
Right, so Jerry's doing watering for that, and keeping an eye on weeding, but that's a lot of space for a one-man
Yeah,
band, and Linda had been helping doing some watering. So I think we need to keep searching for volunteer help. But then if we do have any capacity for maintenance of kind of those pollinator-ish gardens beyond those 3 we've already committed to, I think that we should focus on some of the other gardens that maybe aren't labeled pollinator gardens, but are. Like I'm thinking about some of the really beautiful gardens on Lockwood. Yeah, at Deer Creek Park, that little island. I mean, there's a lot of areas that have natives planted in them that certainly are serving pollinators that we could think about doing some maintenance on if we grow at capacity. So
if someone, I'm sorry, if somebody wanted to, who would they go to? Karen? Because
Well,
there's just
Jerry-
been a couple Facebook posts lately that have
Jerry-
people wanting. to
Jerry
volunteer.
said he would accept he would organize any volunteers who wanted to
Okay,
do
so
that.
send them Jerry's email, or
Yeah,
I'll go to Jerry first and ask. If I could put that name in some of those threads, that might.
yeah.
'cause
Well,
people are
he
like, "Oh, I
asked
would
me
help.
to,
There should be a way to help, but you know,
well, and I think because we don't have any kind of standing calendar yet on greenkeepers, that just having one contact would be a good
Okay.
idea. So if you wouldn't mind emailing him,
yeah, I'll just make sure that's okay with him and then.
yeah, and maybe
Share
you
his
could,
email.
when you get a resolution, you could just email all of us and let us know, just because then we'll know, yeah, we can just keep sending people Jerry's way.
Got it.
I was
Will
gonna
do.
say something similar. There was some brief talk about the L144 interchange and the gardens there.
Yeah,
Some
that's
people
one
who
where-
live near there wanted
Yeah.
to do some support maintenance, and I was like, that might be
Pretty
okay,
dangerous.
but
that's where I
Yeah.
put, that's, I
Yeah.
called Yvonne about that and directed them to her for
okay,
that one.
that's good.
Just that some people go around town volunteering in different capacities, like once or multiple times to take care of little areas.
Yeah.
And so she said it was okay to share her name, but she told me earlier at the beginning of the meeting that no one reached out because of that, so.
Okay, well, maybe it was a passing urge.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Sadly, I think it is a lot of times.
We've also got, after the Big Bend Railroad Club thing, some local citizens are gonna take over some of the work there.
Okay.
That's citizen led. We shouldn't have to intervene. Stephen Musial, among other people, is gonna be doing that.
Yeah, because that is not a city property.
Yeah.
So,
So we're hands off there. I mean, Joe or I might run over and help sometimes, but
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for you, but I think you said that.
I'll occasionally drop in.
the highway department at Elm 44 is taking care of everything all the way up to just right by the walls where the gardens are.
Okay.
So everything else is now back into the highway department.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So we'd have to talk to them if we wanted to do anything.
I don't know what the program of adopt a highway possibly could be.
Oh.
I don't know. I have no idea, but they are now mowing what they're supposed to be mowing because in the past, we've already mowed to the end of the entrance and exit ramps, but now we're just doing right by you'll see a difference in the cut
Quality.
because one's a brush hog and one is
Right.
but that's what they have, so.
Well, if we see any more talk about it, I guess we should maybe direct them to the highway department.
Well, we can explain with
Yeah.
that part, but all the people saying they want to volunteer, maybe that can go to Jerry if he's
Yeah,
into that.
Yeah.
You know, they would have to wear safety gear and they would have to get approved by the
Right.
highway department. to
Right.
do anything down
So
there.
there's probably other spots that are more easily accessible and maybe. even
Yeah,
more
it's very,
impactful.
very, very dangerous down there. We don't go down there before like 9 and we have to get out of there by about 2. Just
Too much
because
traffic.
It's extremely dangerous.
Okay. That's just sort of a bug in everybody's ear, and if you could follow up with Jerry and then
Will do.
that would be great. And any other questions about that? Yvonne, did you want to add anything about?
About the pollinator.
Yeah.
So Jerry agreed to be the unofficial volunteer coordinator. So I think, check with him and see if he can send people his way. I would say Ivory Crockett needs to be weeded, City Hall bed needs to be weeded. Concrete Garden's pretty new, so that doesn't need to be weeded, but So I water Ivory Crockett, I'm watering for Jerry here.
Oh, he's gone.
And then staff waters the concrete garden when they do the hanging baskets. But anytime someone can just, if you weed once a week, you're only weeding for 10 or 15 minutes versus if you wait a month, you're spending.
What,
3
what are the
hours.
water needs right here now?
Um,
Is there access to water?
there is, and I could show you as we walk out. It takes 5 minutes to water, but it just has to be done.
Yeah, I can
So-
probably take that.
And maybe you can just tag team it with Jerry.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, you probably just need to do it maybe once a week or once every 5 or 6 days. maybe.
Okay.
So it was pretty wet this morning when I watered it, so. Eventually we won't have to water any of them.
Right.
So it just get it through the
Established.
first year. And then it will just be weeding. And then eventually there should be less weeding as the plants get bigger. So.
Cool.
And then at that point, maybe taking on new gardens after that would be appropriate.
I still feel like adopting some of the species that we know that are out there already.
Yeah.
Would be more appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? The last item of old business, I was really just wanting kind of an update on what's going on with Baroque.
Yeah, so it's definitely happening. I actually had
Okay.
another meeting with Margot. Her dad passed away recently, so she's still dealing with that, but they do still want to do it. But they did some pricing, and it came back pretty high just to do the PAs without any stage and have it all set up down there because they sort of did a DIY where like they had volunteers bringing stuff down, but getting things down under the tree are just so difficult. She's talking about wanting to check with the city about potentially just doing it at the bottom of Poplar. And they do have permission from the one neighbor on that street, because it would be basically set up in front of their house. But it's a flat surface. People could sit all the way up, kind of like they do on Gore for street dance. And then spill over into the field with kids and whatever, and see how that would work out. All those neighbors would be fine with keeping cars off that part of the street and everything.
Sorry,
Okay.
it feels like I'm 2 hours early because I thought it's a 7:50. Good time again. It's 7:15 on the sign
Really?
and on the city
Oh.
calendar. which is
Oh,
what I
no.
received tonight.
That's good.
Oh, it's
So-
been 5 forever.
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, I got to
Okay.
see it.
I'll have to-
Yeah, thanks for going.
I'll have to remind Tim.
So they have booked their first act. They're gonna try and stick with smaller and more local people. So there's gonna be no like flying anyone in to help with budget. They've talked to a few musicians that are sort of local to Webster that might be doing it. Still waiting to hear back on the grant from Brian Waldrop, but he's applied for the position as grant writer. And he's expecting to hear like any day now, I guess. So he's like, basically like, I know I would be able to provide those grants if I can just lock this in. And he seems like maybe he's pretty confident that he will. So that'll provide some funding. She does like the idea of the poster project or whatever, but we have like 6 weeks to pull all that together. So I think it could still happen. They did it that quickly last year. So
Well, I know at one point we talked about sponsoring
yeah,
that event so that they could get some fees waived, and I
I said that'd
wanted,
be helpful.
I would just wanted to make sure that this group understood what that means, because I think I feel like I sent you language that
Yeah,
said basically each commission can sponsor 2 events per year,
speaker series being one.
and the speaker series is one of them. So this would be our other event for this year.
Does that affect our tree planting? Is that a third event?
Greener City.
When, well, I don't know.
Do we have?
Green or City would be
permitting?
public. Well, you guys.
We were not,
An event.
yeah, and there's no fees related.
Yeah.
It's a program.
Okay,
Right.
okay, so we should be good.
I think it's Labor Day.
Emily, as you were walking,
In my
in,
head.
she was saying that they were thinking about maybe asking the city if they could do it on the street on Poplar versus in the park.
Which would make their setup so much more easy to do.
Yeah, I have
And
no idea how
cost
that
effective.
works, but I support it.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's the next thing she's doing is following up
Okay,
to see if that can happen, because that would simplify everything significantly. So
I mean, it would basically be like the same as you would do for a block party, you'd have barricades.
Yeah,
Exactly. So it should be-
and then is green space supporting this event like worth it fiscally for, does it, how much are the fees?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, I think I did ask that, but I don't. know if I got an answer, like,
There are block party fees for barricades. I don't know if we need police help for whatever. I think the police part was not, I can't remember. There were like some things that were waived and some things that weren't, and I don't remember
Okay,
which category was which. But yeah, I mean, and I'm also for the year, I'm assuming that's the fiscal year, which ends in June. So, or is this a July thing or
July.
July thing? So that would
yeah,
be
first one
next
first
year.
one for the next year, is how I would interpret.
okay, and then how soon do we need to get that paperwork in?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
I can try to find out.
okay.
I mean, I can find out too. I'm talking with Dr. Peoples tomorrow about other things anyway, so I can add that on my
Okay.
list.
And
what
so,
else I think we need to do is, if we're splitting the year with sustainability on the eco ed series, how does that impact this? Do we take care of that sponsorship 1 year for the eco ed series, and the next fiscal year, maybe sustainability counts that as one of their things?
That's a good idea.
But I don't, maybe they already do 2 things. I don't know.
I don't know.
I know they do Webster on Wheels. I don't know if they do a second thing, but I know they have one.
I wonder if Park Board would take on. I don't know if they're sponsoring anything, but the other thing, so if this commission does sponsor it, we'll need some wordage in the minutes. That says that you're sponsoring it.
Would this be,
Because
but yeah, would this be better sponsored by a different commission?
And do we need?
Like the arts
Probably, right?
commission,
I'm sure they've already used
Yeah.
there too.
they have,
Yeah.
I think Scott recommended that it was more of an arts commission thing, but they could be already committed to.
so if we have any other great ideas next fiscal year, they may not. I'm not saying one way or the other. I just want us to make sure we understand that.
I guess we don't have another meeting, but can we still come to a decision on that?
July 3rd. would be our next
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah, and when
Wouldn't that
is
be
the
too late?
event?
It's the 14th.
Yeah, they probably need to make decisions.
I mean, I'm okay. I'm fine with it. I think it's a great program.
Yeah, I don't know that we have anything that as competing with it at this point, so why not? I mean, we've got the speaker series.
Yeah.
We're still able to do our tree
You
planting.
mentioned Arbor Day.
Yeah, it does it.
Is
Yeah,
that-
Arbor Day it's requirement to carry our Tree City USA.
So that would.
So that- that
So
would
that's- I
count
mean, the city
against us.
has to do that anyway.
Okay, okay.
I mean, I think it's,
We should do it.
should I make a motion to
Yeah.
do this and sponsor it? For this year, July 2023,
for this.
make it a motion, yeah.
Okay. So,
Vote,
And then we have to vote on it.
all in favor?
All in favor.
I,
Yeah, I think for this year.
Okay.
And then hopefully, I would in the future. If they want. Our involvement, I would like to. Get on the radar earlier and maybe
Oh, for sure.
think about. Are there other things we could do? Like I loved the tree. the poster, things like that.
Yeah.
Drawings or.
Yeah. I just
Get
need
the
to
school
see it
kids
because I'm here and like
involved
lose momentum when it's the
Yeah.
kind of building, so.
But I would also, I want to make sure that our. Resources, what little we have, as a
Yeah, for
commission are
sure.
used for our mission stuff.
Totally. Well, if there's anything we could do to have a table at it too, like to sign people up for the volunteer, you know, I'll have a stream team table there, so I could man that, like.
I love the idea of having some tables there, like.
Giving the opportunity to sign up for greenkeepers
Or green
or,
space.
yeah,
Opening.
Or the Deer Creek get grants and, you know, like,
Yeah, that's,
it's always good to
yeah,
get word out.
they
about
just open
those.
up another round.
or
of
like if
grants.
Jerry has like a more. If we have like some more official way to take volunteers for what he's organizing. We could, you know, I mean, I think we got like 20 new volunteers for the stream team when we did it the first time, so.
Okay.
We could try to have more of a actual presence, not just, you know, support the event.
Sponsored.
Yeah.
Are there corners up here?
And that's, okay, that's the same day as the the tree workshop though, right? Isn't that what we said?
No, it's the 15th and the 14th is. Right, the
It's a
workshop, is-
Saturday.
yeah, and it's Friday night.
Oh, it is.
Oh.
I thought it was Saturday night. Baroque is.
She told me it's Friday the 14th.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's not on any calendars yet, so.
Ah, okay.
And so Ginger, not to rush you, but at some point in the next week or two, if you could send the minutes so I can send that paperwork on.
Sure.
Okay. thanks.
Try to work on it.
Yeah, well, I think, does anybody have the opportunity to put to tabling in their schedule for that night? Friday,
I should be-
I'm booked for the 15th at large.
me too.
I should be, I mean, I should definitely be around.
I think I'm free.
I mean, I'll be there in multiple capacities, so I'll be able to bounce back and forth, but having a second person there would be awesome.
Do we know what time?
She hasn't said that, I'm last time I think it was like 7.
Yeah, I think I can be there.
Cool.
I should be able to. In whatever capacity,
Well, Ginger, when you send those minutes, you copy me on. that, so I have the Record of that activity.
Yvonne, when do you need the informational stuff for stream team for the other thing? You asked for brochures, and I'm just trying to.
Oh, for the 22nd,
Yeah,
I would
What-
just say a few days in advance
Okay.
for.
Well,
this talk.
Or do you think you'll be able to come to that? You could just bring it.
the 22nd, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you could make it.
Yeah, that's a good
And
idea.
probably not anything overwhelming, just maybe a few little handouts.
No, I'll just get some little flyers.
Okay. You don't have to carry around big boxes.
Okay. And if there's nothing, well,
I do have one question.
Yeah.
For the notes. So when we're sponsoring it, the Baroque. What exactly, like how much are we sponsoring? Like what is
it's
that?
to waive it's paperwork that we fill out that says we as a commission agree to sponsor this event. And it just waives the fee. I
There's
mean,
like a
we
certain set of things that the
Yeah.
city provides, so like it might be
So it
trash
waives
cans.
Trash cans,
Yeah.
barricades,
So
Waves.
they'll have to fill out an application.
things provided by city.
Special event or
Okay,
depending on.
And
they've
then-
done it, because they've had that sponsorship before, so
Barricades.
I'll just remind her
et
that,
cetera.
Okay.
okay.
all right, that's.
Carry on.
All right. Then we'll move to new business. The first item of new business is tree planting or memorial for Linda. I found out a little more information. I think I emailed to all of you that the weekend of the 24th and 25th of June. Her brother was gonna be coming into town and something was gonna be happening, and I thought that something was going to be a formal and maybe not what we felt was right for Linda in her role.
as a commissioner in all things green. So, but it turns out that those two things are gonna be able to be in unison, and we have reserved the pavilion at Lorraine Davis Park for the 24th. We've reserved it for all day. I don't know exactly, that's a Saturday. I don't know exactly, I'm communicating with a garden club member who is communicating with the executor of Linda's Trust. So I'm kind of, on a chain of information. So once I find out a time for that and sort of what it is, I have a feeling. Sounds like it's gonna be maybe a short ceremony, someone talking, and then possibly a tree planting, which, we are all in favor of. And then maybe they're gonna have food and kind of a little reception afterwards. So, my plan was to be available for the beginning, for the service, and then for the tree planting. And I've been coordinating all of this with Yvonne, the rental of the facility and the tree planting. So I will share more when I have more about like start time.
Okay.
And I think the garden club has said they would like to do some sort of plaque. And there is a place for plaques at the rec center. So we'll put the tree, also the garden club said we should definitely plant an oak tree, because Linda was very big fan of oaks, and Doug Talame's work on oaks and their importance in our food web. So I think that's a great idea. Any questions about that? Oh, the other thing she mentioned is that the executor and this person from the garden club are writing an obituary. A rather lengthy obituary because of all the service Linda did, to be published in the Webster Kirkwood Times within the next month, she thought. I waited a little bit on that, but I asked Janet to also send it to you, just
Okay.
in case you had anything to add.
I wonder if they want to do that as an article as opposed to in the obituary section, just because you get so many.
Yeah. I guess depending on what the obituary, where it is located, but I think to me, I think she deserves a cover story.
I don't know, I don't even know how to think.
She knew Don Corrigan.
Yeah,
Who
I
often
know
writes.
Jamie Mowers pretty
Yeah.
well.
Maybe.
Are you gonna see Jamie in the next week?
I'll see her Sunday probably.
Should I mention? Okay. No, Jamie's out well, and I don't know who they're going through to publish this obituary.
Okay.
I don't know what
Or if
means
it's
that,
redundant.
so, right.
Okay.
The last item of new business on the agenda.
Well, I do have more things. to say.
Yeah, I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
Yeah, please.
So I spoke with the Dark Skies guy
Oh, yeah.
after she passed, almost immediately after he emailed me, and I emailed back with him. And he's indicated that in honor of her memory, he'd like to keep working toward that goal of achieving improved lighting ordinances in Webster and changing the lights in our green spaces. With ideally the long-term goal of having a dedicated dark sky area. And if possible, wouldn't it be nice to name it after her?
That'd be great.
So I'm just kind of suggesting it as a long-term green space and sustainability goal. We would talk to them about it too. If we can build towards something like that, I feel like that'd be a lovely kind of capstone.
I agree. Thank you.
So some parks will have these mounds built up where you're supposed to lay on your back and look at the stars. And there's some pretty cool designs out there. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but they're called viewing mounds or something like that, where everybody, it's a mound like this and you lean back on it and watch the sky. So maybe Southwest Park at some point could be dark enough that, maybe that would be a feature that would be worthwhile. I know they have one at Echo Bluff State Park.
Cool.
There's one there. So,
Well, Sustainability Commission does have dark skies, and the sustainability plan is one of their priorities. It's just not this year, so I think we probably will have another subcommittee meeting with them sometime.
When we meet with them, I've got all that stuff that Linda and what's his name, Rich, his name keeps coming out of my mind. Just emailed with him.
Probably Bob.
I can just
Probably.
see him right
Yeah.
here.
The very lovely man who talked for a very long time.
Yes. That was a great meeting.
He tracked us.
Yeah, so I've got a lot of information from him, and I can bring that. and we can
Okay.
Talk about it, and maybe formalize some ordinance plans or long-term goals.
Okay. That sounds great. Thank you for adding that and talking with him. Okay. So I'll keep you guys posted on this event. Then the last item on new business is Leave the Leaves initiative, which Linda was very interested in doing, I think partly because of the noise of blowers. But she also knew how important it was for Habitat as well, and I think that's, I don't like the noise of blowers either, but it is important habitat. So based on the no mow sign, I worked up a Leave the Leaves sign. It's just some ideas. They're not in color. I apologize. They're bright like the no mow sign was. But I wanted to show those to you guys and see if we were still on board with doing something like this. The reason I mocked it up now is because I thought it would be good to advertise or talk about this initiative and the values of why you would do this as part of the parade.
Yeah.
That we could sort of present this initiative and maybe get the QR code active and, people could look that thing up. So it would be, again, we could do yard signs. I've talked a little bit to Jen Starkey about if there's money. I assume there's not money in the city's budget for that, and this would come out of our budget, so we'd probably do a lot less signs, but I still think that's impactful, even if just the commission does it, it's still getting the word out. And we could also, if we can't purchase any to give out, we could just purchase, our own. Put a spot maybe on our landing page that says, if you want to purchase one of these signs, here's how you do it, or where you can do it. So I think it can be fairly low cost. Or, we can decide if she was gonna look into the dollars from the printer that she took to. So I imagine it'll be a similar cost to last time though. And she was gonna let me know about that. I guess, do you guys have any thoughts about?
Well, I mean, leave the leaves wouldn't necessarily, it would just mean like just raking the leaves to like your flower beds and stuff, right? And leaving them there like over winter and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Not like necessarily leaving them just all over your yard.
That's right.
I do that too. But yeah, I mean, like,
It's a spectrum, right?
yeah, it's a huge spectrum. And some people have so many trees in their yard that if they did that,
Like we could, like we rake them to the sides.
right.
Yes.
That way we.
It is, it's a spectrum. Thank you. Emily. That's very true.
So it's whatever you'd be comfortable.
Yeah, and this would just really be a campaign to talk about the benefits of why it would be important.
So would you do that informational bit on the backside?
No, I think you do it just like no mow and put a big
One-sided.
QR code on it,
Okay.
because it costs more to do a
Yeah,
two-sided sign.
yeah.
I like this a lot. It's cute. I think it'll work.
I mean, I definitely say we do it.
Do you need anything from council? I mean, we don't need anything ordinance wise, we don't need a resolution like we did for mowing.
I think we did.
Do you need the city to like? Do you want them to officially?
Endorse it,
Like,
yes.
participate, you know, on. public
I think that might be
properties?
nice to do that.
We usually mulch the leaves anyway. There's some areas like City Hall has too many leaves for the property, so we do vacuum.
Yeah.
Here, but you know, for the most part, we try to pick them. Chip them in place.
Yeah, I don't wanna. Like promise anything that
Yeah.
Yeah,
isn't doable or. Yeah, helpful. We decide we need something.
you think that would be helpful?
Yeah, it's helpful for, Jono.
Yeah. It was helpful for no amount.
Even some symbolic support from the city, you know, with practices that you're already doing would be positive, I think.
I mean, a simple explanation that you could do this, this, or this, including mulching to the beds or whatever, like. And then we're displaying that around town.
I mean, I guess the support I would really for sure want is like the landing page like we had for Nomo. So if that landing
Like
page,
working
is-
with Jenny on.
Yeah.
that.
then I mean that,
Well, I'm
The
sure
city's
that's
gonna
not
put
a
it-
problem at all, and she could put it in the Friday page, I'm sure.
Right.
All of that.
but I guess if it's on the city's page, then that sort of is support, right? Like,
Well, I mean, that's fine, I just didn't know if you needed me to like. Do anything formal. You know?
I'll think about it. And I guess it would be nice if I would go to the commission and, or the council and say, this is something we really want to do, and this is why we're doing it, just so that they can be educated about.
Yeah, I know the work session time is pretty tight, so it may be hard to get on an agenda, but I can certainly talk about it when I give my updates.
Okay,
And I do those every council meeting. So I can
so maybe by, when's the next council meeting?
tomorrow. So I can mention, if you want me to start mentioning, I can just get it out there that we're looking at doing a leave the leaves in the fall, and then like in 2 weeks, I can say, and it's for these months, you know, I can kind of. So I don't know if anybody watches my updates in the work session, but they would be there.
Okay, I think that would be a great idea,
Yeah,
and I could maybe provide a link or like a document for you that had a couple links about why this is.
it's just a verbal, my thing's just a
Okay.
verbal thing, but yeah, we should definitely do that with Jen, we should do the page.
Yeah, okay.
Not an instead of, this is like
Okay,
in addition.
all right.
Yeah.
And again, not reason I'm talking about it now, it's just because I'd like to talk about it, it's great and
Yeah.
good subject. but-
And when the page is up, I can include that in my next update, like,
Okay.
and here's the place where you can go and find out more.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I can try to do another big sciencey social media thing,
That was awesome.
like the last one. Maybe September,
The professor comes out.
just remind me in
That's
September
better.
and I'll come
All right,
and see
yeah.
science.
Do we have a time period?
Oh, like September.
Well, no, you kind of.
When your
leave the
leaves
leaves.
come down and you just don't.
Usually
There's no time period.
Yeah, we try to get the word out. in
Don't
September.
rake, I mean, it's just like, just don't rake up the pizza. Is that
Yeah.
what we're- or rake.
Just take the fall off, folks. Just take it off. Just let it go.
And again, it's a spectrum, right? Because if you have a lawn, that is not what you want to do with your lawn, but if you have some pollinator beds or no lawn, like some of us, then,
I don't quite have no lawn, but I'm working on it.
oh, you don't?
Not yet. There's little.
Yeah.
My spouse said she wanted room for the kids to run. so
Oh, that's.
You know, you gotta be back.
6x6 square, right?
Leaves are
Little,
food,
it's like a dog. room.
food for migrants. It's
Yeah.
important.
Food. Food. It's an habitat. Yeah. Okay, any other thoughts about the leaves?
No, should we, do we need to vote on it or anything, or we're so far out that?
Well, I guess what I do need a vote on is the money it's gonna cost to buy these banners for the parade. I don't know how much it's gonna be. So I can't ask you guys to vote.
Well, is there anything else we want to spend it on? Again, because if there isn't, then we might as well.
In the budget resets June 30.
Yeah.
Maybe I can get in under the wire, because I know we have money in the budget, still that we have not, but,
You want banners for the parade?
Yeah.
If I need to order them like
Yes.
now.
right,
If you have the
That's-
budget,
That's coming up.
Okay.
too.
so I can't
And even if
imagine.
it's spent, if
excited.
it's like been
Right, yeah.
ordered in June and paid for that.
I mean, basically, the idea is to have two. 4 by 5. But banners that have this language on it. So they're just gonna be like those banners you get at Sign-O-Rama. With some
Like
grommets,
Medium press or something.
with some grommets on the sides. And it'll say like, leave the leaves. And then I was also gonna put a little banner that showed, or a little picture that showed Nomo on there, so they kind of knew it was,
connected it.
yeah. It was pretty simple, and if we have one vehicle, we'll do 2, because I was gonna do it on like an A-frame thing.
Okay.
And if we have 2
I mean, if it would be
vehicles,
easier just to do one vehicle, I'll just.
I mean, you could.
She'll take the hit and stay home.
You could come along and then the 3 of us could just take turns riding, right? Someone would want. Okay, never mind.
I mean. Oh.
Um,
Do we get to take the banners home afterward? I'll put it in my yard.
yeah, that would be awesome.
Save it for next year.
Right,
Speaking of saving, I did notice we still have a couple of Nomo signs.
Oh, really?
Eden.
yeah, I saw those at the Arden Air thing.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
like, should I grab them? Should I leave them to?
I think grab them. Do you mind grabbing them?
Unless somebody else gets them first. but I'm not-
Okay. That would be great, thank you. Okay, so I mean, I've bought banners before and well, that was a long time ago. I don't know, does anybody have any idea how much one of these?
I bought them for the Boy Scouts like 2 tree lots ago, 3 tree lots ago. First tree lot of pandemic. And I can't.
You guys will put like limit or just as long as I don't blow the budget, I can spend it because we're
Right,
not, we
let's
don't
just do
have
that.
another expense.
What do we
It's,
have left?
we're like,
You know?
we're in the month that we have to
I
use
mean, our
our
whole
budget.
budget's $100,000, right?
Yeah,
So-
we have
And you barely spent it.
We have a lot.
Some snacks.
Less. And I would be
Carry that.
responsible, I wouldn't spend $600 on this or.
Water and-
I imagine it's gonna be like $100.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. If our yard signs were like between 16 and 20.
Well, wait, if we have unused budget, why don't we order our signs now? For the fall.
Because,
Can we get them ready in time?
we need a QR code
How fast?
and that's coordinating with
I
Jenny. And
think
I don't
getting
have
it
time
all
to
blessed
coordinate
with
it. Yeah.
City Hall and everything. probably.
Good thought. Oh,
Yeah.
that is a very good
And
thought.
Jenny might even have the budget for it, so. Didn't she say that?
She said she's gonna look into
Wait,
it.
wait, wait, okay, the banner, 3 by 6 foot size will run $64.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
This was 3 years ago, so
it's probably $100.
I say we.
Okay, so, do I make a motion? Can somebody make a motion to
I make a motion.
Give
to
me-
vote on those banners for the 4th of July.
$300, say, max to buy these banners?
I second your motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Right.
Okay. I think that's the last thing. Oh, no, updates. That's the last thing in the business. Emily, do you
Yeah,
have any updates for us?
that's a good update for us.
Good.
The stormwater plan approved at the last council meeting.
Oh, good.
Next year's meeting, so that is moving through.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
So that's on tomorrow's agenda to keep that moving through, so. That's a good big
It is.
update.
That's a win.
Just want to say thank you again for Sunday morning at the railroad.
Oh, yeah.
Put together, so
Thank you.
hopefully it looked great and it's great community involvement, so. Thanks very much. I saw Sarah later in the day and she was just like talking about how great it was, so,
It was good.
That's
yeah,
good.
so that's good. I don't know, is there anything else that I speak up to?
It's a big one.
Tomorrow's the budget hearing, like the public hearing for the budget, so we're almost done with the budget for next year. Yep, I think that's it.
All right. Could you let council know about Linda's? Thing on the
Yes.
24th, and I mean, I vaguely sensed that thing to Katie and asked, but we know it's the 24th
Okay.
now. I just don't know what time.
We don't know what time, but we know it's 24th of Rain Davis.
Yeah, Corinne Davis.
Is the oh, Snapper thing that's the name of the day?
I don't think there is a vote check.
It's not gonna be.
Okay, then, if we're done with the council liaison update.
Probably said a no. Rich used to say.
Yeah.
Oh, good old Rich.
No, I can't think of anything new that we ever talked about already.
Oh, actually, could you update us on the grant we're trying to submit for the,
319.
that and the straws?
Oh, okay.
So as part of Green Our City, we were going to ask Public Works to use some of the tree funds to plant trees in front. To take down the invasive trees in front of Straub and plant new trees. And NBC said, we will sponsor this project and give you some grant money if you use structural soil. So we had a meeting a month or so ago with of the
Public
folks from Public Works, Todd, Vera, and the other
Right,
guys. I
and-
can't-
yeah.
And we talked about it and I worked up a little, using my mad landscape architecture skills, a little sidewalk sketch. And selected some trees and then Vera was doing that, you could get from there because I don't know
Yeah.
where it is from there.
Okay, so it's almost ready to send to Mark Ruger. So we have the volume for the structural soil. So basically, we're gonna take out the Bradford pears. And they're just gonna do a sidewalk cut there. They're not gonna pull all that sidewalk out because it's still in good shape. They're just gonna cut the length of the bed. And so the sidewalk's gonna be 5 feet and the bed's 3 feet roughly.
3 feet from the Straub's curb
And then 5 feet of sidewalk to the street. And so they're gonna, where the trees are coming out, they'll go ahead and put pavement over that. And then we'll put in black gums and then plant an understory, but the whole premise is underneath that will be structural soils. So the trees will have plenty of room for the roots to go and live a much longer life than a normal tree in a tree prison.
Yeah. So is the structural soil going under the new concrete that's being put in on the curb? It's only going in where the trees
Underneath of
are?
that, we can't afford it. It's already at least 12 grand just for that.
How deep does it go?
Supposed to be 3 feet.
3 feet. There were some calculation changes that I can tell you about.
Okay.
So originally, if we did the whole thing, it was over 40,000 just for the structural soils. Wow. So we cut back to just where the trees are gonna be planted, that 3-foot strip structural soils will be, is around 12,000. So, and maybe we can talk about it before we give it to Mark. But that's kind of what we have this suggestion. Okay. So, but anyway, they might have time this summer. If it gets okay, then they might have time this summer to go ahead and do all the prep work and the plant. and all.
It'd be great to get some native trees in there and give them more room and to get those
Yeah, it's at
pears out of there.
$25,000 from NDC, basically.
And then I guess the tree fund will buy the trees.
Mhm. Yeah, and then we'll have plenty of cost share, in-house cost share. So.
Okay, now the 319. More great.
Oh, okay, so the 319 grant, we're just in the process of, we met with the folks that approved the grant. They came up from Jeff City and we toured all the sites and we talked about everything that we wanted to do. And they were very happy that they got out of their office and came and actually saw on site, because they don't always get the opportunity to do that. And they thought everything that we proposed was in line with what they would fund. So the next step really for the city is just, there's a ton of paperwork. And so we need to get through that, get our estimates to Stacy, and everything needs to be to her by the beginning of July. And there's some other
Wow.
paperwork that needs to happen before that. So that's kind of where we are. It's basically, I think there was only one other city that applied, so there's a 99.9% chance we'll get the grant. But we gotta do all the paperwork, so.
So, I sent you some information about the computer and projector and screen that I think we were hoping to get out of this for our educational outreach stuff.
I sent it.
Okay.
Yep.
Was there any, we talked at our last meeting about sort of prioritizing asks, things that we thought would be, could potentially be tied in with this, so is there still time to submit that if
I
somebody
would
has an
say if you
idea?
can do it by the end of this week, we could probably find a way to still
Okay.
add stuff in. And then one other grant that we got that I kind of forgot about already is the city did not have to do anything but say, yes, we want the tools. So we got a grant through the Deer Creek Watershed Alliance for $700 worth of tools for volunteers.
Oh, cool.
Wow. That just got ordered and showed up at our shop. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that was nice. And I think from my observation, we are doing a lot of work along the creeks and streams, and that gets the attention of stream team and people who do have the ability to give grant monies for these things. So as long as we can keep making good on it. And I think the volunteer piece, that's how we get these big bulk projects done. So I think for me, I really would like to try to find somebody who can really do a volunteer coordinator type of position, and perhaps that 319 project could fund that person. There is staff funding available on that with that grant. So,
So that.
but it's just for the length of the grant, which is 3 years, but that's still 3 years of employees, and we could desperately would need someone to help oversee those projects.
I know. I'm trying to figure out about where this fits in, but there's a halftime sustainability coordinator position. I think already funded, maybe grant funded as well, just
Oh, I
like if
think
you had
so.
like a halftime and that, maybe that could be a whole person.
Yeah, because they basically could take our volunteer corps, which is 200+ people, create a calendar that goes on the rec center website, and we can actually say, okay, the crew's gonna be at Deer Creek Park on this date, come and join us, and they can work alongside the crew, or they can adopt a garden, or there's so many opportunities that we could use that volunteer corps for, but it's hard for me to do that and do a lot of the other stuff. So I do my best. If people want to sponsor something, I'll meet them over there and look at the scope of the work. But it'd be great if we had a volunteer coordinator that actually knew plants to some degree and knows how to organize people, because getting these extra things done besides the mowing and the weeding and all the keeping the business districts watered. That's how we get all these big conservation projects done. It's through volunteers, because our staff cannot do any more than they're doing. So I think it would be really key and a good opportunity. Maybe that position can help with that.
So that is on the radar, it's being included.
Well, I talked about it, and there's definitely staff funding available for that grant. It does pay for staff.
So how do we make sure that that's concluded then? Do
When
we
we
need
put
to
together a
write
plan.
Okay.
No, just need to
We need to
Stacy about
support
it.
that, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Green space doesn't need to do. It's cheerleading.
We're pretty excited about
Yeah.
it.
That's it for me.
Okay, thank you.
Carrie, I probably missed this. Did you know you're gonna update about the next talk, the June 22nd talk?
I did a bit, yeah,
So the evening one starts at 6:30.
Correct,
right?
there's
So
a-
I can mention that to my
yeah.
too. And then.
At 6:30 is the meet and greet, just, we're gonna
Is
have some
that public or
refreshments.
not public?
Yeah,
Okay, so I can mention like 6:30 meet and greet, 7 o'clock talk, is that
yes,
right?
correct.
And then there's a thing in the morning too, right?
Yes, which is very. You know, we don't have a ton of room, so I really, anybody from council or staff who could come to that would be great, because they'll have. You know, time with Rhonda and. Some.
And that's
other
not
folks.
open to the public,
No.
that's, okay, and that's, what time is that? It's at May Pop, right?
Yes,
We say 9 or 9.
do we have that in our minutes anywhere, what time that is? I don't have it.
It's okay, I can look for it.
Yeah, it's on the presentation that I gave to you guys.
Yeah. I've got it.
Okay, and that's at Maypop in their room upstairs to start, and then
Yeah.
we won't be in there long, and then we're just gonna walk through the.
And I'll
park.
definitely be at the evening things, I'm not sure about the morning, it just depends on my work schedule. I know that, I don't know who's gotten back to you, but I know Sarah. Richardson said that she was interested in going, and so did David Franklin, I'm sure that Campbell and Laura, they're also interested, so.
In that
not sure.
morning thing.
Or you know,
Do you think it would help if I reached out to folks again?
I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
It's a little bit closer.
Do you think it's like, should I send an invitation?
Yeah.
I don't know what the protocol is.
Then you would know, like, who, you know,
Yeah.
your RSVP.
Like the best way to actually.
The morning walkabout is June 22nd, right? That morning.
Yes,
And that's for like council and staff.
yes. And I'm still working on, I want to have somebody from Sustainability Commission there, and I think I've got that person lined up, and just, maybe Scott Woodbury, who is a conservationist, just to manage the garden out at Shaw Nature Reserve. Some other people who kind of know conservation, if you could just wait on that subject. Maybe someone from GRG. Just kind of locally doing things. in the Conservation. Right. I think that's it. Our next meeting is July 3rd. So the city's old, like, city's running on July 3rd.
Third.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay,
I thought we
Making
were
sure.
skipping
Yeah, I
July.
thought we were skipping July as well.
You said,
we were skipping an eco ed talk in July.
Ah,
Did I say we were skipping a meeting?
I think we talked about.
you're like, other commissions do this, and do we want to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Okay, so no meetings.
So August 7th.
I, for some reason, I was thinking that that was only the eco ed thing.
Okay, so if anyone needs anything from me, send me an email, because we won't see each other, so. August, you'll be emails, you'll be emailing me every.
I don't know if we can set a time
month for that,
time fixed on the city calendar
for
for
the
this
meeting.
meeting, so that for August, it's showing 5 and not 7:15.
Okay, yep, okay, I'll make sure.
So that meeting would be on the 7th of August. 5 p.m. right here. All right, anybody want to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I might have a final comment.
Oh.
Sorry to bring it back up, but when the position becomes available, does anyone have anyone in mind who we want to encourage to apply?
You guys were my last.
And you were mine, so.
I was thinking,
Is your
And yours.
question almost done?
Oh, not.
Elsie and
No,
Oh,
those guys just came.
She's really into native plants.
She's great.
She's retiring. She's just follows everything that's going on with the city and is a really just level, wise person. She has a beautiful yard of native stuff and she does some stream team stuff and
The
she's
turkeys
just
love
like
her yard.
very locally
Oh,
involved. And so she would be in yard. I just suggested it to her that might be coming up, but that was the only person that popped into my mind.
I don't have anybody.
She's really smart.
Said, "Did you remember?" It's all good.
well, that sounds. Maybe when we find out it's posted, we can, if I find out, or if anyone sees it posted, we can. Email it.
Nudge her a little bit.
And, yeah,
I'm sure she could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be posted.
No, I mean, I know that they keep up, like, here are the ones that are open, but the form is for all of them.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Ones, so,
And somehow people know because someone was already talking about it on Facebook, so.
yeah.
Okay, so
Okay,
make a motion to
adjourn,
adjourn the meeting.
anyone?
I'll motion 6:23.
Anyone? Second. Thanks. All right, thank you, guys.
And it's closed, no more notes.
Thank you, Ginger.